When working with virgin hair and applying a color, there are two methods of application. You always have to ask yourself, am I going lighter or am I going darker? If you're working with a client who wants to be a level 6 and they come into the salon with virgin hair and they are a level 7, then you're doing an application which requires you to go darker. So to go darker, you're going to apply as a retouch, and we've already completed one contract where we've applied as a retouch. So you just use the same technique, and you don't have to be super accurate, but you do have to be neat. You want to have a neat application. Remember, only have the product on one side of your brush as you apply. We do not have a line of demarcation to worry about here. So we're just applying to that first ½ inch to inch. An inch might be too much, first ½ inch. Everyone's regrowth might be different though when they come into the salon. But if we just do ½ inch to an inch, we should be okay. And once we've applied as a retouch, then we can immediately comb that color through, making sure that the hair is saturated from root to end. In contract F3, you have an opportunity to practice your virgin applications. So I've applied as a retouch, and the contract suggests that you section into 4, and on the left side you apply color as you're practicing virgin going darker, and on the right side apply the color practicing virgin going lighter. So here we have the retouch application. Immediately after we're done, we comb that color through. Now the reason we apply as a retouch and then comb through is it saves on color. We can distribute this color, and the second reason is it not only saves on color, but it allows us to distribute through the shaft a little more evenly. You do have to always add some extra color. So you would take your brush and bowl and just add color as needed, making sure that the hair is saturated from the scalp area right through to the ends. So just add what you need and work it through, and then you process it according to the manufacturer's instructions, or according to your teacher's instructions, or your journey person if you're an apprentice working in a salon. And we would do the same in the front panel here. For our contract, we could comb this through as well. Remember, try to be neat with your application. When you're practicing on a mannequin, that makes it easier when you practice on a client, or when you're doing a client, not practicing. When you're on a client, you're with a real person. So you want to be ready for that. We want to apply, making sure we have adequate coverage. And it's always a good idea when the color starts to oxidize, which takes usually about 5 minutes. You'll already see the process of oxidation, the color starting to darken. It's a good idea to go through after 5 minutes and check your color and make sure, just go inch by inch and check each section, making sure that you have adequate coverage and you haven't missed any spots. You don't want the client to have a light spot. If you're doing a virgin going darker application, you don't want some light spots in there. Always check the client's face and ears, and make sure you clean that up before you leave them to process. And then the other application for virgin hair, so remember this is virgin going darker, and virgin going darker on the contract F3 is applied as a retouch on the left side of the head, combed through immediately, and processed. Virgin going lighter is performed on the right side of the head. And when we perform virgin going lighter, we use a different technique. And the reason we use a different technique is now we are going lighter. We want to make sure that we're allowing for the heat of the scalp. Wherever there's heat, color process is faster. So we need to recognize that. We need to go approximately 1/2 inch from the scalp. Stay away from that heat, what I like to refer to as the warm zone, the first 1/2 inch. If you placed your fingers in your hair near the scalp, you'd feel it's a lot warmer in that first 1/2 inch, and this shaft has no heat. So we need to give this shaft a head start. So by placing color on it first, it gets to lift and process, and we give it a head start, and then the result is more of an even color. If we placed it as a retouch and combed it through immediately like this, we would have a lighter color near the scalp area, and it would not be ready, it would not be processed yet on the shaft. If we use fashion shades, we should also apply in this color, in this method. Colors like auburns, coppers, some vibrant reds, vibrant eggplant colors. You may also need to apply in this manner, otherwise you'll get what we refer to as hot roots. It looks a little bit brighter and shinier near the root. Not so much shinier, but it's reflecting more light because it is a lot brighter. It's lifted more here, and this part is not as light and not as bright with the fashion shades. So remember, whenever you're going lighter, whenever you're using a fashion shade, you need to apply to virgin hair 1/2 inch away and give that shaft a head start. I like to work at the bottom and start at the bottom and work my way up to the top. Some people will apply at the top and flip it over. To avoid flipping it though, I start at the bottom. But whatever your teacher or journey person or instructor suggests, that's probably what you need to do for the region that you live in. So we're just going to apply to the shaft, staying away from that warm zone right now. And some clients have a warmer head than other clients, so you always have to check, like if a client has a lot of heat coming from their scalp, radiating from their scalp, you may not want to apply 1/2 inch. You might want to go a little bit further from the scalp just to be sure that heat doesn't affect, and just watch it closely. Again, still remember, work on your application, keeping it neat. Now once we're done applying, we would time it for 1/2 the development time. So for example, if your color takes 30 minutes to process, the color line that you are using, maybe it takes 30 minutes to process, then you would leave this color on the shaft for 15 minutes make sure that it has started some of the lightening process, and it does have a head start. And after the 15 minutes, you would go back and apply to the retouch area. Comb it through, and once you've combed it through, you can monitor it and observe the results. And what you're looking for is a color that is even from scalp to ends. Sometimes I like to apply half an inch away, or maybe a little bit further than half an inch away. And then once I've got my line of color there, I can just go in and feather it a little bit. Just don't go too close to the scalp. The subsections that you take are going to depend upon the density of the client's hair. If a client has very thick hair, you might want to take smaller subsections. And if a client has thinner or sparse hair, you might be able to take a little bit larger subsections. Use your tail of your color brush to take your subsections out. This allows speed. It's not good to use another comb or brush for sectioning. It just takes extra time, and you want to be quick with your applications because in the salon, time's money. Okay, so once we're done and we have color on the shaft but not on the root, remember we process it for half the development time. So for example, if the color is going to sit on the hair for 30 minutes, we're going to leave this for 15. Once the half the development time is up, then we're going to go back in and we're going to apply as a retouch. So let's imagine that half the development time has happened, and now our clock has speeded ahead, and we're going to apply as a retouch now. I've just added some more color to my bowl. It's a good idea to never mix up too much. We can always add more, but we don't want to waste product, right? So now let's imagine the clock has sped up and it's been 15 minutes and we can see that the shaft has lightened. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to apply as a retouch. And again, you don't have to be super fancy here. You just have to get that color on. We want to be neat. Again, I remind you, make sure you're neat with your applications always. But we don't have to worry about a line of demarcation because everything is going to be covered in our color product. Once we apply as a retouch, then we can comb this color through. And again, all we're waiting for is timing it now for evenness. We're looking at a strand, doing a strand test, and making sure that we have achieved an even color from scalp to end. So you want to practice this so that you can become fast with your applications. It makes a difference in the amount of money you make. It also makes a difference in the results of the color. If you're really slow with color application, one side of the head could be processed by the time you get to the other side. So we want to make sure that we have speed. So now once we're done, we're going to comb this through, making sure it's distributed evenly. And remember, this is our virgin going lighter, so we applied 1/2 inch away from the scalp down the shaft. We waited half the development time, and then we applied as a retouch. And you'll do that on the back panel and the front panel. Always get used to starting on your back panel because this is where hair is most resistant. Although if clients have gray areas, you might want to add some color to those gray areas before you start. So just to review, this left side is virgin going darker. We applied as a retouch, combed it through immediately, and timed it and monitored it for evenness. The right side was applied virgin going lighter. We apply 1/2 inch away from the scalp, let it process half the development time, and then go back in and apply as a retouch, comb it through and let it process, and we're waiting for evenness. Time it till it looks even from scalp to ends. To take a strand test, you just can pick up a piece of hair, use a Gibson towel. You can also use a terry towel and remove as much of that color as possible. You also could spray a little bit of water on that hair in order to make sure that you get all the color off. I like to sometimes take a Gibson towel or a Sanex towel and lay it on there and view the strand for evenness. By having a white background, it seems to help me be able to see what tone is there and also how even the strand is. If the strand doesn't look quite ready yet, maybe the roots have not lifted enough to match up to our shaft, then just add some more color and process it again watching it closely. Once the client is ready, you would take her to the sink, shampoo, rinse, whatever the manufacturer's instructions are. Some colors are just rinsed out, some are shampooed out, but you would take her to the sink and follow your next procedure and you would be done. So remember, just to review, this is virgin hair we're dealing with. It's contract F3. On the left side, the contract asks you to go virgin going darker application, and on the right side, virgin going lighter application. To do your virgin going darker, we apply as a retouch, comb through immediately as soon as we're done applying, and process it till it's even in color from scalp to ends. For virgin going lighter, we apply 1/2 inch away from the scalp, wait half the development time. So for example, if the color is 30 minutes to process, we're going to wait 15 minutes because that's half the development time. Then we're going to go back in at that point, apply as a retouch, comb it through, and allow it to process until it is even in color as well. So there's your virgin applications. Practice them, and good luck with contract F3.